Hi there. My name's the Lady Pingu. Introductions are in order for those who have never met me. I've been content creating for years on and off. Funnily enough, never really planned to. It all started when I was role playing with some of my friends. They all were asking me to stream because they enjoyed my interactions, but I was kind of overwhelmed with the thought of streaming because I was kind of just a toddler when it came to technology. One day, though, I met an amazing individual who wouldn't take no for an answer because he enjoyed watching my interactions with people and just seeing me be an overall goofball. His name was Tony. Tony was always there for me. He made my very first Twitch account. Yeah, he made my account. He also made me a bot for my Discord that lets everyone know when I'm live. And anytime I have any kind of like technical issues, he does his best to help me. So I would definitely want to have gotten as far as I have without him. So you're probably wondering why decided I wanted to start a vlog. Well, to be honest, I have a very like loyal following on Twitch, but I haven't really been in the mindset to where I could role play as much as I used to, even though I'm not as active as I used to be. There's still people who are subscribed to me, even years later, when I'm only streaming like once every few months. So I didn't feel right knowing that people wanted to spend more time watching me, but I just haven't been able to. So for my mindset, I had to make some changes in life. And cutting out roleplay had been just part of the trade. That being said, this is also going to be like a diary. So a lot of my inner thoughts will be here for everyone to see. So try not to judge too harshly. If I say something wrong, overall, I'm a very positive person. I do my best not to judge others and just to spread smiles around. So I don't think I'm going to have too many issues, but this is going to be my outlet as well. I have a very short memory, so it'd be nice as I get older to have things that I can refer back to and relive some of the memories of life, especially when like times get dark. I can look back to when I was able to bring smiles to other people because I feel like that would help find mine sometimes when I need that extra push. So, aside from streaming, who am I? Well, that's a good question. I mean, I'm sure some of that has already come through at this point. I am just a guy who cares a little too much and a little not enough about certain things. The things that I care about, I am very passionate for. Um, the things I don't care about at all, like politics, they don't exist. So it could be a little, that's part of being on the spectrum. For those who are familiar with autism, you probably have gathered in just this short talk before I even confirmed. But yeah, I am on the spectrum. I can be described as a carefree person to those who just see me, you know. I do have chronic depression, so I tend to isolate anything that brings negative emotions around. If it was like in a relationship, I could talk about it with the partner, but that's not something for this vlog. Um, but yeah, overall, people tend to say that I'm very carefree and bring, I raise people up around me to make them feel like things are okay. And I strive for that. I will say in this vlog, being that you are viewing someone else's thoughts, there will be times that I focus on certain things that you wouldn't, such as I like to make people smile, and I tend to almost on an obsessive level try to spread happiness. So when I'm talking about interactions with other people, you may see me focus a little too much on how I feel that they're feeling because to me, I didn't understand emotions growing up. I had to learn them on flashcards. Um, I didn't really let my mom hug me until I was 15. Like, I kind of accepted it, but I wasn't happy. You could kind of see it if you were paying attention. Um, I didn't say I love you to her until I was 17 without it being like her saying I love you and I saying I love you too. So unprovoked, I guess would be the word. It was the first time unprovoked I said it. It wasn't until super recently that I noticed I couldn't live without her. She's a lot to me. I love my mom. So it's just an idea of how long it took me to grasp just basic emotions. So um, that's not saying I didn't love people before I was 17. I have always been a hopeless romantic. My first girlfriend was in kindergarten, so yeah. Um, I feel, and I feel very deeply. It's just, I don't always understand how other people feel. And when you notice that I'm focusing on it, that's probably going to be why is like for example roller coasters, something that I do on a very very regular. Can't grasp why people scream. If you're uh if you're one that screams on roller coasters, in the comments below, can you tell me why? I'm assuming fear, but if you're scared, why are you getting on the roller coaster? Maybe it's I do face my fears. I do admit anytime I was scared of something, I forced myself into situations to where I could nullify that fear. But wouldn't you stop screaming after a certain point? Maybe it's peer pressure. Are your friends pressuring you into getting on a roller coaster? So, yeah, as I said, you're already seeing how differently my thought process is as a person. So when you're watching this and I'm thinking in such an odd way, remember the way that you think is pretty odd to me too, and it fascinates me. Maybe you'll find that same fascination. Um, but hopefully that explains certain things. Like I do admit there's a lot of times I jump to conclusions. There's a coworker of mine a while back that she she liked to have what's called a B word face, resting not happy face. There you go. And I was confused. I was always just really confused because all of my basis is your body language and your facial expressions. So seeing someone unhappy every time I enter the room, it kind of felt a little awkward. And one day I kind of snapped when she was being overly critical of something I was doing. And I was like, hey, listen, the manager wanted me here because obviously I do a good job. So if you don't like me, that's fine, but understand that I care and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'd appreciate if you didn't judge every single thing I do. To which she responded, hey, she had a resting, not happy face. And she actually did like me. I'm very pleasant to be around. It just she's not very good at expressing that on her face. And as someone who struggles with emotions, I can kind of understand that. So I learned that day that sometimes I do jump to conclusions. Sometimes I see people happy and I think they're happy. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like a dog. Just because a dog is wagging its tail doesn't mean that it's happy. That means it's excited. You could be excited when you're about to stab somebody. Pardon the darkness of that statement. You could. That could be an excitement. And sometimes that's what happens is people see dogs wagging their tail and they think, "Oh, it's happy to see me." And they go try to pet it and they get bit because the dog is excited. It's in fight or flight mode. Its adrenaline is pumping. And that's its response is wagging its tail. As you get to know the dogs better, you can kind of tell the difference between the two ugh, tail wags. So I think that's where I'm working at with humans. I actually understand animals a lot better because it's all body language and behavior with them. But humans hide a lot, so I try to understand them. But sometimes things aren't as they seem, you know? All right, so we need to wrap up the introductions because, unlike on Twitch, I am not an affiliate here on YouTube's. So I can only put the 15-minute videos. I did a 10. There's an extra 5. There you go. All right. So if you have any questions about me, feel free to put them below in the comments. I will talk to talk about them and answer them in future vlogs. Um, Eventually, hopefully, I will be able to have longer videos because this ending part is rushed. I know. So there will be 3 videos dropping. So keep your eye out. Hello. Okay. So we made a video before this one, the introductions. So that's a one, like maybe 13 or so minute video. So head on over there if you would like to watch that. Um, this one I already recorded, but I noticed that it's gonna be probably have to break up into 2 parts if I want to cover what I want to cover. So the Adventure Dome shall be 2 parts. So we're gonna start with the start of our day. It's now Saturday. Let's go back in time. um, it's Saturday now, and it's morning time. I know you see the darkness over there. Don't ignore that. I'm telling you, it's morning and it's Saturday right now. We're feeling a little lethargic. Okay, okay. I admit it. We're feeling lazy. I'm late. I don't want to get up. Our first alarm goes off and we quickly silence that. Um, our second alarm goes off. We quickly silence that. And in between the second and third alarm is when we wake up, about 30 minutes after the second alarm. So around maybe 11:30. You could say 11:30, round it out. Um, we're excited because it's time to go to the Adventure Dome. But then we remember it's Saturday. Saturday is a great day because that tells us it's time for solo leveling. And for those who don't know, that's an amazing anime that's going right now. We will be discussing that. Don't you worry, it's going to be discussed in the next video because we're going to be dropping an anime video. So, in that, I will be covering solo leveling, Dr. Stone, and Sakamoto Days, those three episodes that dropped today or this week. As far as solo leveling goes, yeah, I watched it sub. I have to watch it. It's the only anime I watch subbed. I can't, well, there's a few, but I can't wait for the dubbed episode for that. But note, I will be going back and watching it dubbed because Alex Lee, ALEKSLE on YouTube, he is voice acting so many shows and a lot of video games. So if you're interested in watching people voice act, check him out. We're not related in any way. I'm giving him a shout out because it's an entertaining watch. Like at one point he like has to hurt himself, like hurt his like put pressure on his chest to make himself sound hurt in the anime. That's not many. I'm sure there's other actors who will hurt themselves for the filming process, but that's a level of dedication we wish more people had. Maybe not the hurting themselves part, but to care that much for something. So while I was watching Solo Leveling, we had two colossal beef Nathan Franks. Um, I've been trying new hot dogs recently. Hot dogs are a little too processed, so they make my tummy hurt. My little tummy. So we've been trying new ones just to see, because I do enjoy the taste. My normal go-to is ballpark Angus beef, but we tried out Hebrew National. It's okay. Um, and we tried out Nathan's beef. We did the colossal ones. They're huge. It's a good hot dog. Um, but do I view it as worth it? If the Angus beef is cheaper, I think I might stick to that in the future. I haven't fully decided. It's gonna take a little longer of me trying different dogs. If you wanna throw your recommendations down there, I'll try them. It's my first time. Like I've been slowly getting back into eating solid food. For the last 3 years, I've been living off of Soylent, so um, my Twitch stream actually brought that to my attention because they saw I was struggling with depression and I wasn't eating. I was kind of starving a lot. So that Soylent really helped me get through some rough times. But this should be in the introduction and not for the Adventure Dome video. So we will speed past that. I mean, this is still us starting our day, so there's still more to cover. Um, we also tried putting the texture clay into our beard. Um, growing up, I always used gel to keep my hair nice and spiky. But the problem with gel is it has alcohol usually in it, and that's not good for your hair long term. Also, when I was a kid, I kind of liked that I could just stab people with my hair because it made your hair as hard as a rock. And I wasn't very good with my words, so that was how I kept people at an arm's distance, and I would just stab them. Um, but as I got older and a little more interested romantically, or not really interested, I always had an interest. But as experience went on, I kind of noticed that gals, at least in my experience, like to play with your hair. And it's kind of hard to play with something that's like rock solid. So I thought maybe it was time to move on from gel. And that's when I got texture clay. The beauty of texture clay is it has that firm hold, and you can see hair looks decent. Um, but you can play with it. Like it's nice. If I push my hair down, it'll pop right back up. But it's not hard. It's not stabbing me. It's a little sticky, but that's about it. So I decided to try that in my beard because my beard can be rather unruly. I have originally I was using beard butter, but that wasn't really taming my beard too well, and it was leaving little white beads in my beard that made me look like I had food stuck in it. I recently got a beard balm, which I did try. Um, I think I need to experiment a little more with that before I can say whether I like it or not. But the texture clay, it definitely tamed this beast here, and I felt a little more confident. I don't know how good it is for your beard, so there's that. That's why I will continue to try to get the balm to work. I just wanted to try it for the day, and felt good. Um, so that's the end of that, and we walked to the bus stop. Once the bus driver got there, they smiled. It was really nice. Usually, a lot of times the bus drivers don't. They kind of they're there to work, you know. So it was nice having a bus driver smile. When we got to the Adventure Dome, I said thank you for the ride, and she seemed really happy and said, "You are very welcome." So that was kind of just a nice little wholesome interaction. Once we got into the Adventure Dome, we headed over to the kiosk, and I showed him my little thing here. Let me cover my name. Oh, there you go. It's a it's an annual pass. For those interested, if you're local, you can spend 240 for a year. 120 if you're below a certain age, but if you get over the certain age after, well, during your thing, you will have to pay a difference or like a certain like an extra 50. I don't remember the thing, but there will be an extra charge if you go over that age while you're on the pass. Um, and if you want a fast pass, which means skip the line, that one's an extra $100. Note that in my experience, because I go all the time, there's only like two rides I could see you actually really getting a benefit of a fast pass. Um, Ride one, the one that I would see the most is the pirate ship, the Sand King, because if you want a certain seat, then being able to enter first would be super helpful. Um, Number two would be the Nebula Z. There's always a line for Nebula Z. I personally only go on the Nebula Z during the week when Adventure Dome only has like 20 people or so, because at that point I feel a little more safe. Because if the Nebula Z, you enter and you go on the bottom, and then it spins for a little while, and then you're on top. But while you're on top, they load more people in on the bottom, and then it spins, and then you're on the bottom and you leave. So if you put your stuff in the cubby hole, there's always, when it's a busy day, there's alternate, they're alternating who's getting on and getting off. So there's a chance that while you're 50 to 100 feet, whatever, in the air, someone could just take your stuff out of the cubby and you can't really do much about that. So, um, yeah, I mean, I've never had anyone try to take your stuff while at Adventure Dome, but risk management is important. That's why they have. I will say they have lockers there, but you have to spend money to use them. So if you're only going one time, then yeah, get a locker. It's not a big deal. I go a lot, so like multiple times a week, so I can't really afford to grab a locker every time. So I put my stuff in the cubbies. But with that, there's two rides that are uncomfortable for me specifically to do during the weekend when it's active. That would be the Nebula Z and the El Loco. Because El Loco is, it has two cars, each loads four. So you go vroom, and then they load up the second car, and then it goes vroom. So when you go vroom and this one comes back, once again, they could take your stuff before the ride is over. It's not Adventure Dome's job to keep your stuff safe, so they do their best, but it's not in their job. That's why they have lockers. So let's get to the actual day. After entering and getting my wristband, they give you a little wristband that lets you stay in as long as it's open. Um, I decided to pass the slingshot and pass the Angry Birds. I wasn't really in the mood for those this first loop. Um, Actually, we'll talk about that in the next video in part two. Let's just go through each section, what I call section. So there's section one. I will be mentioning the sections a lot, so I'll go through them. Section one is the disco. It has a nice little crescent like this, and then it's a circle on the crescent, and it spins. It goes up and down, but while it's going up and down, it spins. Um, then there's the inverter. It's a nice little car and a bar, and it spins. While it spins, it holds you upside down and stuff. So that one I go to when it's busy because there's no one goes to that one because they're scared. um, And then there's the slingshot. It just slings you up real fast and then sends you down real fast. That's that. They also have a Ferris wheel. It's just a little slow Ferris wheel. I haven't been able to go to that one because you need two people at minimum per per car. There you go. And when I had friends over, we weren't excited to hit the Ferris wheel. So I've never gone on that one. And that's the end of section one. And I think we'll wrap up the video here and I'll explain the other two sections and then talk about our day, or the other four sections. All right, see you in the next part two. All right, so part two. Um, we went over section one. Now we'll go through the rest of the sections before we talk about our day. Section two, what I consider section two, is the BC bus. Um, that's just a nice little bus, and it's connected to two bars, and it just goes up into the air. That's it. It spins and goes into the air. Then they have the Road Runners. This, when I first saw it, originally I thought it would be kind of silly. Um, I didn't think that would be any cool. But as I got on it, it's kind of become my staple now. I actually do go to it quite a bit. Um, it's just a bunch of little train cars, like little cars, and it goes in a circle. And then after it does in a circle, it goes backwards. And after it's done with that, it goes forwards one more time. Um, this one by far will be the one you see families taking videos of their kids the most. Um, you get to be a part of that. You get to watch families have a lot of fun, and for me, I enjoy that. That's part of the reason I go to the Adventure Dome, is to see the families and just to interact with people a little more because I tend to isolate in my room. Um, hey, Lily. Sorry, my puppy is being a nuisance right now, so that's why I stopped for a second. All right. Across from the Roadrunner is the Twisted Teacups, the classic teacup ride where you're in a teacup and it spins in a circle and you can spin the dinghy to spin it faster. Um, Across from that is the Nebula Z. So this one will be the one I talk about the most because I've found different levels. So if this is your first time going on the Nebula Z and you're a little nervous, so the Nebula Z has a harness that comes down and then you can hold it like this. So that's what I found level one. So this is if you're really, really nervous and you're unsure. Sorry if I keep looking down there. My dog is being silly. To help lower the G. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know that this helps the G force. It helps me feel less. So the first time you can hold it like this instead of holding it like this. Hold it with your arms crossed over your chest like this and cross your legs. Make sure your legs aren't swinging. That will help. For me, it feels like it will help lower the G-force. You're ripping the blanket, silly girl. You're ripping the blanket. You're nipping the blanket. Um, so that'll help lower how much G-force hits you, or at least the feeling. So it helps. After you're used to that, you can hold it like this, like normal, and you can uncross your legs, and that's when the G-force hits you just a little bit more. And once you feel comfortable with that, my what I found is my most fun. It's what I call level 3. Um, so when it's going backwards, I lean back or and then I go forward. And I actually swing my whole body and my legs while holding like this, and I go with the momentum. So the first time it's going this way, and then the second time after it stops and it goes forward, it goes this way. So I changed the way that I go with the momentum of the swing. I'm not sure how to explain how to change your momentum. Like the, one way you want to go back and the other way you want to go forward. So that's going to be something you have to feel out. I'm not sure if that's something I've always been like really sensitive to my surroundings. So maybe that's only a subtle change I can feel. But yeah, so that those are the three levels of that one. But that is my favorite ride in the Adventure Dome. I just only do it on the weekdays. Like tomorrow's Monday. Pretty excited. I probably might hit it up. It depends on how many people are there. Across from the Nebula Z is the circus swings. Um, that one just recently got changed. So originally it was just if you like park swings, you'll love this. It's just a swing, but it lifts you into the air and spins you around. So it's not too fast, too slow. It's really it's good. If you like swinging, you'll like it. Um, but recently they changed it. Instead of it going and lifting you up and spinning you kind of close to the ground, it lifts you a little higher and it only puts you down after it's done spinning because a lot of the kids were jumping off of the ride or not like jumping off, but like getting off before it was done. And then the last part in section 2, hold on, the dog needs to go under the burrow so it will be happy. Stop trying to cuddle me right now. I can't cuddles. Sorry, guys. Okay. The last part of section two is a railroad that well, it's not really a railroad. It's a little train. Like think mall trains. There's no track. Whoever's driving, aka one of the employees, does need a driver's license. I don't know if that requires you to have a driver's license to work there. If so, if anybody in works there that can say yes or no to that, go ahead and put it in the comments below for the people who are curious. Um, if you need a driver's license to work at Adventure Dome, since there's one ride that actually requires you to have a driver's license. But what that is it's just like one of those little mall trains that drive around, and the employee like rings the bell, and that's the last one. It gives you a nice little tour of the area. I might have to have a third video because we haven't even gotten to the start of the day yet. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna be doing a third video. So that's the section two. And then section three is upstairs. That's the El Loco in the Canyon Blaster. I always go to the Canyon Blaster. El Loco is during the week. And then section four is a bunch of claw machines and midway games. If you want me to get further details into that, I'll do so in a future video. Put it in the comments below. If you want a list of all the arcade games, like Halo and all those kind, I can get a list of the games and put them down. But since they cost quarters and money and stuff, or the points, don't do those, so I ignore them. Same with the Midway Circus game. I think that I know that all of those you have to pay on the side. Isn't included with the wristband. Um, but that being said, if you guys are interested in the circus games, I can look at them a little closer and tell you what each one does. Um, Other than that, the two rides that are in this section are bumper cars, which I did with my friend Blair. Speaking of, I missed two in section two. There's two rides that are for little kids. There's the frog hopper, and then there's the little go-karts. For the go-karts, you do need to be a young person or really short. Where's Blair? Where's she at? Just kidding. That's a friend between a joke between two friends. Even though that sentence was a little long-winded, I very much can tell you that was a short joke. But back to section four. There's the bumper cars. And there is the Sand Pirate, which is just a pirate ship that swings back and forth. It's one of my favorite rides. I do it after every roller coaster when I go in a circle. What I do is I do two things in section one. No, I do one thing in section one, do two things in section two. I ride one ride in section three, and then I ride the Sand Pirate on the way around. And then after that, you can either go back to section one, because in between the pirate, there's section one, but in between that will be a bar for adults and a cafeteria for food. It's a little pricey, even with my 20% off at everything. It's still pretty pricey. Uh, if you don't go to section one and you cut through, there will be bathrooms with water fountains, and that will lead to what I call section five. Yeah, because we were on section four. Section five is all the arcades I was telling you about, and there's the 4D movies, which those are kind of cool. We'll go over them. Bear and Squirrel, I enjoy that one. It's a really nice thing. Both movies are kind of aimed towards children. You can enjoy them as an adult, but Bear and Squirrel's nice. There are four water splashes. You will be splashed in the face four times. Um, there's two bubble scenes where bubbles will actually come out, and me, I have to pop those bubbles. And then there are two scents. No, there's one scent. Um, they play a scent in the beginning of the movie um, for like immersion. As far as the actual movie goes, I won't spoil too much. I will give two warnings. If you're scared of snakes, there is a section during the jungle scene. I won't say what, but during the jungle scene, when they thought it was a vine, there's a snake and there is a 3D, like it comes out of the screen, but it's not aggressive. But if you have snake fears, I'm giving you a warning. And then the second warning is shortly after all of that, there once you see the two pandas, there will be a tree covered in termites. I know some people are scared of termites. If that's the case, note they do shoot like a little bit of air at the back of your leg, which makes you feel like something's grabbing a hold of you. So I usually lift my legs for that part. If you're scared of termites, know that that's going to happen and just be ready for that. Um, Other than that, the show's really nice. It has the bear going. The bear was mistreating the squirrel in the beginning, and it just has him go through a bunch of herbivores, and he gets to see what it's like to be a herbivore, and he grows to appreciate the squirrel and is a little more nice to him. They get a friendship. It's nice. It's wholesome. Family, happy family. However, that one it's I'm not a fan of it. I watch it every time, but as far as the fact that it's aimed towards children is kind of the thing, like kind of like SpongeBob. I won't go into that, but um, I don't like when I feel like things are aimed towards kids that are giving the wrong message. Like, so this one will be a little more spoils, but the start is the little kid is scared, and his mom is like, "Oh no, everything's fine, honey. Look at this ugly fucking oops, pardon my language. Look at this ugly person," and she's like poking it in the eye, and just like saying how ugly it is because she thinks it's a toy. And once she realizes it's a real person, she doesn't apologize. Instead, she goes, "Oh, what a funny misunderstanding." And when she gets on the train, she's going on about how ugly that woman was. And throughout the whole show, she doesn't really learn her lesson. In fact, they kind of make her the hero, where she's kind of saving the day. And I don't like that. I think character growth is important, and yeah, I don't think calling people ugly and then not apologizing is very kind. Like it's realistic though. So there's that. There were two sprays, some bubbles, and arachnophobia warning. There's when the bridge hits and there's a forest area, there will be 3D spiders. So when arachnophobia is big. So I'm letting you guys know. All right, we have to end this and go to part 3. See you guys there. All right. So we're here at part 3 now. Before we get on to our day, I'm just going to quickly go over a few things that we missed. Um, because they weren't, I don't consider them part of any section. So these are rides that are in between the sections. Usually the reason they're not considered is they're more for the kids. So um, there is the little planes that spin around. It's just like cute little planes. You can only get on if you're a kid. So they also have a really small carousel. Those who don't know, a carousel is a bunch of little animals, and you get on it, and it spins, and it lifts up and down. Um, it's a really small one. Um, and then there's the Angry Birds. That one, its advertisements in the 4D make it kind of cool. But once you get on it, since they don't have the 3D glasses, it's kind of missing a lot. Like, it was clearly made for the 3D glasses, but For some reason, they stopped using them. I don't know if there's a reason for that. They do have you do get in the seat, and a platform does lift, but it just kind of goes left and right a little bit and like backwards. It's very minimal. I go sometimes when in between rides when I need some time to calm the adrenaline before I go on to the next ride. Like after maybe like 4 hours of roller coasters and stuff, I'll sometimes visit Angry Birds because I'm not ready to go home yet and I just want to in between. Um, let's see, did I miss anything else? Um, Neon Putt Putt. Uh, for those who have been going to Adventure Dome for a while, that's where laser tag used to be. There's neon putt putt there now. That is not included in the wristband. Um, there is the bungee jumping where they attach you to a bungee cord and you can jump up and down on a trampoline. That, once again, not with the wristband. It's for only little kids as well. Along with the bungee jumping trampoline jump, there's also rock climbing for little kids. Um, there's VR. Once again, no wristband. You have to pay for that one. And then underneath the roller coasters, there is laser tag or laser heists now. So like there's little tiny mini games. They do have a leaderboard. So if you're a competitive type, that's you know where to go. Once again, not on the wristband. You do have to pay for that one. And then throughout the whole Adventure Dome, there's a bunch of little claw machines. So if you like claw machines, Adventure Dome has a bunch. The circus games, you can also win a bunch of like little stuffed animals and stuff. So there's a lot of times while I'm walking through, I see kids holding like big old giraffes or horses or Hello Kitties that are bigger than their whole body, and I'm just like, oh, you poor little thing. So, yeah, if you're into the little circus games and claw machines, there's something there for you as well. Keep in mind, Adventure Dome is free admission, so you get in for free. You only need to pay if you want to go on rides or if you're doing any of the games. So if you want to go on rides, if you're only going for one day, it'll be $60. But you can get a small discount if you're a local. Um, if you see me in there, I have a 20% off for 4 wristbands. I don't think I need to do them at the same time as I get my wristband, but they might make you. If that's the case, then I can't help you. But if you see me walking around, I wouldn't mind trying to get you my 20% off. We could try it. Um, then it would only be $48. If you go at the last 2 hours of Adventure Dome, it is $45 for the next 2 hours. So it's happy hour for 2 hours. Um, I stay for 7, but if you're only going for a short time, look at the time. Go at the last 2 hours. Um, enjoy. So now we shall get on to our day. So the day started. I walked up to the line. Just a tip, this is what I do. If you walk up, I just tell them one and they'll let you walk through. Most of the staff know me at this point, so they let me through. But when you're walking up, if they see that you're in a group of people, they will have you go take a bunch of photos and then ask if you want to buy the photos. So if you want to skip that process, you can just, even if you're with a group, just tell them you're only there as a one person. Just don't make it clear that you're a group. Just be like one, and then they'll let you through. You don't have to take the photos and all that. Um, we passed the slingshot and the Angry Birds. I told you that part. And then we approached section two. So I passed everything in section one and went to section two. Upon entering section two, one of the employees that I always wave at was so excited to see me and wave back. Keep in mind, I hadn't been there in like 2, 3 weeks actually, 3 weeks. Um, I got sick, so it took me like a week to get over the sickness, and then I made sure like I waited 2 extra weeks, so that way there was no way of me being sick because I didn't want to get anyone else sick. Um, so she waved at me, and then she tapped her coworker, and her coworker waved at me as well. It's really nice. It feels good to know that something as simple as a smile and a wave can make someone's day so much that they actively are happy to see you. So whenever I get waved at by the employees, there's a few of them that actually there's some that I actively see like looking for me, and that just kind of warms my heart. So yeah, um, that was at the BC bus. I didn't want to go on it, so I waved back at him. I don't go on the BC bus because it's mostly just a bunch of kids screaming, and I'm so tall that I always hit my shoulder on the way out, and it's really not that fun. Like it doesn't do anything special. So I kind of move on from that one. Um, so I started my day at the Roadrunners. At the Roadrunners while I was in line. There's a family there. The mother didn't have a bracelet, and the other part of the family was busy. So unfortunately, the little kid was too small to ride on his own. So she had to tell him that he couldn't ride, and he was really sad. So I told her that if she wanted, he could ride with me. I didn't mind sharing and riding with someone who's too small to ride on their own. Um, and she accepted. So the little kid rode with me. It was fun. He was adorable. Um, once we got off of that ride, his mom asked if I wanted to join their family for Family Day, and we did. I did warn them that being on the spectrum, I like to do things in a certain way. So like I have like like I approach the rides. I go to the same ones, you know. So I like to do things in a certain order. And she was like, "Oh, that's okay." So the family followed me around, and we went to the circus swings next. I got to see one of the managers that I always wave to, and he and I shook hands and introduced ourselves because I wave at him all the time, but he's usually busy. So it was nice being able to say hi to him. We did the swings. After that, we that was my two rides of Section 2, so we went to Section 3. We went to Canyon Blaster. The little kid was too small to get on Canyon Blaster, but his little brother came on, and his dad and uncle sat in the front. The little kid wanted to sit with me and not his dad or uncle. I'm not sure. I guess I was just cool. Um, so he sat with me. Unfortunately, he did kind of go unconscious during the ride, so I made sure to hold his head up because I didn't want him to bang his head a little too much. But he did go unconscious during the ride. That happens sometimes when the G-force hits you and you're not ready for it. Hasn't happened to me, but I know a lot of people do go unconscious during rides. Um, he was okay. After that, the family decided it was time to go home because the little ones were getting tired. Um, it was a fun time. Then I went from there to the Sand King, as always. From there, I went back to Section 1. I rode the disco, and then I walked to Section 2. In Section 2, this time I hit the teacups, and then from the teacups, I went to the Grand Canyon, the little train, and the train took me around. During the tour, I saw one of my favorite staff. Like there's two staff that I get really happy whenever I see because me and them chat a lot. Like we have full conversations. Um, I waved to him, but he couldn't see me because of how high he was. And unfortunately, the whole day I kind of searched for him and I couldn't find him at any of the rides. He wasn't at any of them, so I missed my chance to say hi to him. I'm sure he missed me being that I was gone for like 3 weeks. Um, and yeah, so there's that. After that, I went back to Canyon Blaster. This time there was a family there. They all got in the same lane, and I had to let them know, hey, you can only have two people per lane. And the dad was like, oh, okay, then I'll just hop off. I was like, no, you can come over with me if you want. So the dad rode with me while the mom and boy rode in front. And I was like, it's okay, I don't scream. And he's like, it's fine, I don't bite. It's a nice little interaction. It was fun. Um, Bunch of little teenagers were screaming in the front of the roller coaster, and the husband kept blaming his wife. Um, yeah, that's cute when you have that kind of relationship. Um, then I went to the Sand King. This time, someone popped into the Fast Pass, and for the first time, I wasn't in my seat that I'm usually comfortable in. So I found myself stroking my beard a lot because that's how I comfort myself. Whenever I feel uncomfortable, I stroke my beard. Um, yeah, that was not, I did not enjoy the ride that time, so I probably next time if I see someone getting Fast Pass, just to be safe, I'll probably just hop out of line. Wait till the next round because I don't really mind. Um, from the most part, after that, throughout the 7 hours, there wasn't really much that like was notable. I just enjoyed myself for 7 hours or so. I just rode the rides constantly. Towards the end, on my last Sand Pirate uh swing, someone asked to sit with me, and I said sure. And he was really nice. He was just having the time of his life. Like he's like, whoa! It was really it was fun to be with him. We went to the disco afterwards, and he showed up there, and me and him started chatting. Turns out, he was meeting up with some friends to go to a show, but the thing he was really excited for was the roller coasters before, and all of his friends said that they were too old to go on the roller coaster, so he just came himself. So I kept him a little company for a little while. Turns out he was working two jobs and studying for college, so um, just a heads up to everybody. If you're feeling a little overworked, just know that you're appreciated. I don't care what you do. I don't know you or what you're doing, but I want you to know that I appreciate you. At least there's someone who does. I don't know if you get that, if your bosses say it or anybody lets you know, but no, if you're overworked, thank you for the 9 to 5, man. I know it's not easy. You keep doing that grind and know that you're supported, at least here in this community. Um, Other than that, I think that wraps up. Yeah, that wraps up Adventure Dome. So next will be the anime section. So I'll see you guys there.